Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here, and let's get right into the video. Today, I wanted to talk about a few habits that I noticed in myself that before I reached Coast Fire kept me perpetually broke. And when I mean broke, I mean desperately needing to borrow money, but not being able to ask anyone due to being a people pleaser, going without meals, missing out on things that I wanted to do. All of these things were a direct reflection of my actions in these habits that kept me perpetually broke. And so I'm going to let you know what mistakes I made so that you can learn from my follies and you can avoid this pattern of behavior. So if you're into that, please stay tuned and I will get right into the video. But if you are not familiar with who I am, my name is Bo. I live in Seattle, Washington. I'm on a journey to reach $1 million by the time I reach retirement age. And so if you're interested in seeing my journey, please follow along and we will get started right now. Now, honestly, these issues that I displayed over and over again in my younger years, up until around the age of 27 or so about 5 years ago, these issues all could have been avoided, but I believe some of them are lessons that we as people just learn as we grow up. And so it's sort of a coming to age type of issue that I just needed to learn. And some of these lessons I learned the hard way. And there's only 4 of them. Most of my behaviors fell into 4 categories. So let's just get started with the first one, which was being too open with what I had. What do I mean by this? Whenever anything good happened for me, say I found $500 on the street, or I got a raise at my job, or I just got a bonus, I felt a burning desire to let the people in my life know that good fortune had just graced me with its presence. And a lot of the times people tell their friends things because they just want to feel supported. They want to build community. And in my opinion, doing it in that way sort of was like me buying friendship and buying relationships. And that's exactly what I had to do. So when you tell people the things that you have and you're not aware of what their circumstances are, it opens a door for people to ask for what you have. And you become sort of a victim of this cycle that you created where you're giving and giving and giving and people are never satisfied. Why? Because they want what you have and not what you provide. And so once I learned that, it helped me save a lot of money. It helped, me be able to keep my good fortune instead of giving it away to others. And it made my circle a little bit smaller. I think that's just a natural trade-off of keeping your business to yourself. Not only did it open me up for people to ask and feel entitled to what I had, but it also just exposed my progress in a way that when I think on it now makes me a little bit uncomfortable, just because not everybody wants to see you winning, especially if you're doing a little bit better than they are in their eyes. So sometimes people will inadvertently hinder your progress, but there are also people out there who will deliberately hinder that progress too. And it honestly doesn't matter which of the two the person fits into. What matters is that you learn to just keep things close to the chest and not tell everybody everything that happens. That's good. And when you stop telling people your business and stop being so open with how much money you have or whether or not you're earning more money or you just received a windfall of some sort, it makes them less comfortable with asking for your assets. It makes them wonder whether or not you have what they need. And so I think that's just a good lesson to learn. It was my biggest lesson, and that's why I put it first on the list. The second item that kept me perpetually broke is a little bit less serious, and that is shopping while hungry or without a list. Now, a lot of people say shopping while you're hungry will set you up for failure, and I 100% agree. Every single time that I've shopped without eating lunch, I definitely was buying things that I wanted in that moment, things that I felt like, oh, this would be delicious. Once I get home, I'll make this right now. And I find myself getting a whole bunch of things that I can eat in the next 30 minutes, as opposed to things that I can prepare for the next week and a half. And so that's where the money saving comes in. Being able to prepare your food for the next week, being able to meal prep, that's where the money comes in. If you're hungry and grabbing bits and bobs and getting only snacks because you didn't eat a meal before you got to the store, you are definitely setting yourself up for failure. So if possible, grab a snack, grab some nibs, eat a little bit, eat on your way there, eat while at the grocery store. Just make sure you are not hungry, peckish, starving, any of those things when you're going to go to the grocery grocery store. The beautiful thing about having a list is that if your diet is consistent and you eat pretty much the same things or similar things week to week, maybe you switch out a few meals in a month so you know exactly what ingredients you need. You also know around what price you're going to be spending at the grocery store. So it gets to a point to where it keeps you on track. It keeps you on track of your bottom line as well as the things that you actually need, to where it's super easy to be able to go with what your budget has. And then eventually you won't even need a list because you'll have a mental one. The third behavior that kept me perpetually broke, very cripplingly broke, was always saying yes. Saying yes, in my opinion, was one of the most detrimental things that I learned to say as a human being. Saying yes is very much a double-edged sword. It comes with a lot. You know, a lot of people say you should lead with yes when it comes to opportunities and working and maybe collaborating, you know, but there is really a good safety in no, and no being a complete sentence, and no just being how you're feeling. There's a safety in that because it takes some of that uncomfortability off of you and puts it on the other person, because now it's like, okay, how am I gonna react to this no? Am I going to be a reasonable human being and take someone's no for what it is, respect their boundaries, or am I going to show a side of myself that I don't necessarily want people to see and, you know, have a problem with someone's boundaries? You know, it takes that onus off of you, and it's such a short word. You just get it out and get it over with, and the things that will happen, the protection that you give yourself by saying that word is boundless. And I honestly still to this day kind of struggle with the amount of people that ask me for, whether it's energy, favors, or money. I still struggle with that. I find that when you have been leading with yes for so many years, people become used to that. And so they sort of expect you to always be there. And I, especially in the past year, have had to come to terms with the fact that, you know, I wouldn't hear from some people if they weren't asking me for a favor or for money. And I need to be okay with that fact. Not everybody is in your immediate stratosphere, and that's not the end of the world. And this is something that I especially needed to learn for the people that I care about. You know, I don't necessarily believe that I have unrequited relationships or one-sided relationships, but I do think that there are people that definitely take advantage if they see you as someone who genuinely wants to help and they've never seen you say no to anyone. So I think the shock of the initial no will probably, you know, knock somebody off their feet a little bit, but they'll also think twice about calling me first when it comes to a slight inconvenience that they can wait for until the next paycheck. And the final action that kept me perpetually broke up until the age of 27 was not giving all of my dollars a job. And I kind of slipped back into this habit in the last year because a lot of the money that I didn't save or spend on expenses were just kind of sitting in my checkings account. If you guys remember from my past budgeting videos, there were times that I had buffers of $1,000, $1,500, $500 sitting in my checking account, and I never gave it a job. So it would just sit there for me to spend the next month. And that is also how I was able to spend so much extra money, because I just had it sitting in my checking account. So one thing that I feel is necessary and something that I'm trying to implement this year in order to not be perpetually broke, in order to just tighten up my finances a little bit more, is to give every single dollar a job, whether that is saving it until the next month, putting it in my sinking funds or my savings. I really think zero base is probably the way that I need to go going forward in order to not spend frivolously. So there you have it. Those are my 4 items, my 4 behaviors that kept me perpetually broke up until recently. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. And if you did, please let me know in the comments. What is something that you do still, something that you're struggling with or trying to work on that you just feel hold you back a little bit in your budgeting and your personal finance journey? That's what I want to know in the comments down below. And I was also thinking that sometimes we can have like a live stream of some of these items too. I think this would be a really good topic to discuss live with you guys. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd like that, and I will see you in the next video.